Hi everybody, I just wanted to put this picture back in. Do you see where the horizon is behind the building? And look at the reflection in the building from up there. It's the same as the one behind, which means it's flat. Just wanted to put that in. You know what they do to us all the time? Well, I can see, look, you can see the reflection in the glass. It's the same as the one behind. So it's flat, isn't it? It's not like the other one's much further down, is it? And disappearing. It just goes on and on and out and out and out, just like the other one. Anyway, I was looking at this map here because I wanted to try and work something out. It's to do with Jin. He took a flight from Japan and it took him 11 hours, something like that. And if I went from England, it would take me the same. But you can see on the flat map that he's 5,355 miles away. And I am, wait for it to click over because I've done a bit of a recording. I'm 5,245 miles away. But when you actually look at the map they give you for all the plane flights, he's twice as far away from California as they're saying he is. So I thought that was really strange. There you go, there's a flat map. There's the UK and there's Japan. So in that sense, he's twice as far away. But in reality, it would take him just as much time as it would me. So I was going to look into that today, although I think I'm going to try and mess around with a map later on. But what it was is it brought up for me this trip that I took to Belgium. So I took off from Southend on Sea. I found this pace calculator. I just wanted to know the speed that we'd have to go. So 342 miles. It took about 40 minutes. We'd have to be going over 500 miles an hour. And I just don't think we did in that little propeller plane. And we made up this journey and I just didn't get it. Because how can we make up over half the journey? Anyway, this is the plane. It was a propeller plane, but it's still a jet engine plane. Yeah, that's the plane I went on. Still quite a small plane. It wasn't as big as a 707 or one of those. It was a little bit smaller, and you know, when you banged it, I remember thinking, oh, it's not very thick, is it? You know, like the other planes, maybe because they have to go higher. This plane won't go as high. But anyway, that's the plane we went on. And I'm going to tell you my little story about going there. I was a bit shocked at the time. Anyway, we took off. And then as we're leaving England, England has brown fields. Because we've had a summer. So they've all been, oh, that made me laugh, that did. When you take a picture of a propeller, it always looks like it's going, It just doesn't look right. And you think, well, if that was happening, I want to get off. I want to get off the plane, but you can't, and it doesn't happen. But that's what it looks like in your pictures. It's funny, that is. So on the original video, I'm laughing my head off because, you know, because obviously this happened a few years ago, but when I saw, like, the blades, it just made me laugh. But anyway, as you can see, the fields are all brown, and you can see on as far as you can see. Yes. As we're leaving the UK. Flat, flat, flat. Anyway, just waiting for the video to move on because I'm laughing my head off on the video about those blades. But anyway, a lot of the fields were brown. This is me now flying over England or leaving England. And that's the height that we flew at. So it's like being in a Zeppelin flight. I don't think we went much higher than that. And we were travelling. It didn't feel any different than being in another flight. But yeah, there we go. But of course, it's not really doing that. It just looks like that in the video for some reason. It's how the camera picks it up. But it looks a bit pathetic, doesn't it? Anyway, yeah. So these are some of the pictures of my journey. I think this is us. We go up over England a bit and then we go out. So that's what I was showing there. So now we're leaving England. Me on the aeroplane. And then, yeah, clouds, clouds. The blue sky and the blue water. And that's the trip I was making from London Stansted, Southend rather, to Gregorian, which is there, which is in North Belgium. So Southend to Gregorian. Just notice how green it is compared to England. How green it is compared to England. And what it was is that we worked out that it was 300 and something miles. So we're coming in, we are beginning to get lower in the sky now, but I just, at the time, this is where I realised how low the clouds were. I was like, just look at the height of the clouds! Just because, you know, they're always trying to pretend that the clouds are a good distance up in the sky, and they're not. Just look how low those clouds are. I'm not sure if they're making the clouds lower or what, they want us living in fog, do they? Because that's what would happen if the clouds came down. But anyway, I just couldn't get over how low the clouds were that day. I was like, wow. Because, you know, sometimes you think, oh, they look low, and then you forget it, and then you're on your plane trip. I'm usually with my daughter, but this one I was on my own, and I was just like, wow, out the window. Just look how low those clouds are. And what it was is, the reason I put this video in is that as we're landing, the stewardess says something else to us. She tells us that we've made up a part of the journey. And I'm like, what? So I knew that it was about 300 and something miles. We did in 40 minutes. How can that be? It's 300 and something miles. The ticket says an hour and 10 minutes. But we didn't do it in an hour and 10 minutes. It took us 40 minutes. So we lost, like, what's that? That's 40, that's, yeah, that's the, so we might have done it in 35 minutes, 35, 40 minutes, 300 and something miles. You can see the plane is not going that fast, and we are coming into land now. We are not doing over 500 miles an hour, are we? So I thought that was very strange, how we could have got up there in 35 minutes when it's 342 miles away. I don't know if I can explain that. I just thought, what? Well, that doesn't make any sense, does it? Anyway, we're coming to the end of this little bit of video, and what it is that I've left the stewardess saying, I just hope you can hear it, because obviously I made this video years ago, but hopefully you can hear her talking and saying what she's got to say. But I just wanted to say, me and Amy did a lot of research on this last night. I kept Amy on the phone for hours making this video. So I'd like to say thank you very much to her for all the time and effort that she spent with me, grueling through photographs to see what we're seeing. So thank you, Amy, my darling. But so we're just coming up now. This video is just finishing because obviously we're landing. That's what they told me it would take, an hour and 20 minutes. But it didn't. It take 35 minutes off an hour and 20 minutes. That's how long it took. So we've landed now. And in a moment, she's going to say, "Welcome to Belgium. Everybody sit with their seatbelts." And then she says basically that we've made up half an hour. But when I was leaving the plane itself, she said that it was longer than that. She said, no, I've revised my figure. It's more like 40 minutes early we've done it. And, you know, like when the how can we make up half the journey? How does that happen? How can we make up 5 minutes? Yeah, even with headwinds, yeah, I can get that. But on such a short time in the air, hour and 20 minutes, we've made up 35 minutes, 40 minutes of it. Incredible. Anyway, let her talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Groningen. The local time is 9:30 and we have arrived 30 minutes ahead of schedule.
Well, we may as well throw this map into the mix as well. It's the Disneyland map. We've got the round map, the square map, the Disneyland map, the diamond map. There's loads of different maps. Some things work on some maps, some things don't work on other maps. But anyway, this guy takes America away and puts it somewhere else, which it isn't. It isn't that far away, because I've been to America. Unless they're lying, we had to fly over Greenland, into Canada, and then down. So, really a bit like a map I'm going to show you in a minute. But it doesn't work out the distance for Jin, does it, that map? It doesn't make, because it makes it longer for me, and actually I'm the same distance roughly in an aeroplane as Jin takes. So it doesn't work that one out, because it makes it further away from me, and there's no Greenland on that map. But this map, I can see how I would fly to Bangor, Maine, wherever it is in there, and then down to California. Yep, I see that. But I don't see that these are in the proper proportions, and Africa's very big, although they do actually put Australia bigger, because Australia is the same size as America. But anyway, I can see how Jin flies straight there, and I fly straight there, and when you look at the distance across, it's about the same distance for him as it is for me if we were living on something with the lands like that, and he just flies down that way. So I can see that on that map. But South America's, look how bent America is, and South America isn't, whereas at the moment we've got South America bent much more. But I looked at this map years ago. It doesn't explain everything, by the way, because it wouldn't explain Jin. But this is Sirius's work. He broke into Google Maps and with API keys, and he got all this information downloaded to his computer, where he shows that is very, very high. This is about sort of 3-5 miles high, and then you've got this, which is much higher than us, and then behind us is this water, which is lower. But I have noticed a couple of things coming back to this map. First of all, the numbers is because as the map turns round, these are where the pillars are. There's one here, one here, one here, and there's one behind by Canada, one behind Russia. Anyway, so this is really high, then comes us, and then this bit here is lower. This is water on his map, and it's lower. See? So in a sense, we're all the things. We're concave, flat, well, just probably all of it. Convex probably as well. That's, the sky is convex, the water's concave. So there's all these functions going on anyway, but we're still flat plane with all this happening on it. But anyway, what I noticed was, and there is Everest there. That's 5 miles high, and see the height of that. See, they're about the same here. So this makes us concave at this point here for this bit, but we're not concave this side. So it's all a bit bizarre, really. But what I noticed was that this shelf here behind Russia has no ice on it. On this, no ice. This is direct from Google Maps. Where is the shelf? No shelf of ice on there. That's a bit strange when we've got ice. Well, do we? But anyway, that's what they're showing us here. And ice, but no ice there. And yet, I made a video the other day to show how cold Russia was. So it's covered in water, but actually it's freezing. And shouldn't there be a mountain there with ice on it? And then I noticed, you can actually see that on this map here that it does drop down there like a valley, and it does this side, but there's nothing there stopping the water coming through, So how do we not know that this water came through that gap and flooded us? And that's what caused the biblical flood, or whatever you want to call it, the big flood, or this great big what do you call them? Tsunamis and that. I couldn't think of the word then. Caused that great big tsunami to come across. But it does look very strange, doesn't it? Ice, no ice, water coming through here and flooding Great Britain, which it did. We did get quite a lot of. Why? Because all this water, by the way. But on that map, that would make sense. But then I just don't know how Jin, if this is what Google Maps are putting out to show you. And this is a square, this is a square, and this is a square. There's nothing either side. There's nothing here and nothing here. But there's a pillar, there's a pillar, there's a pillar, and there's a pillar. Okay. But it doesn't explain how Jin over here would get to California in that time. So, not sure about that. Anyway, on our search trying to work out why Jin's flight is so different than it should have been longer, we came across this place, Diomede. There's little and large, and here we go.
We thought we'd send Gary Tuckman to actually find the spot where Russia is right next to our state, where you can see Russia. It's a small remote island, there it is on the map, whose residents are frankly somewhat surprised to suddenly be in the headlines. Gary Tuckman is there. Gary.
This is the island, a piece of Alaska that Governor Sarah Palin cites as evidence of her foreign policy experience. No streets, no cars, no airstrip. A helicopter is the only practical way to get here. Nome is the nearest city on the mainland. Anchorage, 550 miles away.
This is the city of Diomede, Alaska, on an island known as Little Diomede, about 25 miles off the western Alaska coast. This is basically a rock plopped in the Bering Sea. Only about 150 people live on the entire island. There are no hospitals, no hotels, no restaurants. And what's most unique about it is this. This is the Bering Sea, the Bering Straits. A half mile in front of me is the international date line. And this rock in front of me, that is the nation of Russia. Right now it's Tuesday afternoon in the United States. There in Russia, it's Wednesday afternoon.
The smaller island in front is Little Diomede, and then the division between western and eastern hemispheres, with Russia's big Diomede Island only 2.5 miles behind it. Since World War II, it's been a Soviet and now Russian military installation. 20 miles in the background, you can see the Russian Siberian mainland.
Okay, well, you can pick the ones without the check marks.
The 25 students in the Little Diomede school may be in the United States, but Russia dominates their view. And yes, you can see it from every house. Is Big Diomede in the United States of America? Where is it?
Russia.
Governor Palin may be talking about this island, but she has never been here. Patrick Oniak is the tribal chief of the Native Alaskan community on Little Diomede.
Since Alaska's been a state, which is almost 50 years next year, have you had a governor come visit here?
No.
The only statewide politician ever to come here is current U.S. Senator Ted Stevens. So regarding Sarah Palin,
She's making a comment that she shouldn't have made in the first place about seeing a Russia. She said it came out here beforehand and then made the comment.
while some here feel Sarah Palin is doing a good job as Alaska governor, others are nowhere near getting swept up in her new national fame.
What's the governor's name?
Sarah Palin.
There is no television on Little Diomede Island, so many here don't keep up with the news.
Did you know that she was picked by John McCain, who's running for president, to be the vice president of the United States, possibly?
No, I did not know that.
Diomede Mayor Andrew Milligrock does know of her, but does not believe that Russia's proximity to Alaska provides foreign policy experience.
Has this governor, Palin, or any other Alaskan governor, ever said to the mayor of this city, we need to work hand in hand in dealing with the Russians if A happens or if B happens?
No.
Never happened?
No.
No discussions with the state capitol about that?
No.
In fact, nobody we talked with here feels threatened with Russia being about the same distance from them as the White House is from the U.S. Capitol. The Palin campaign defends the way the governor deals with this foreign policy issue.
Her experience as CEO of this state is unlike many others.
Well, there you go. We've just watched that bit of video there with them, and I'm changing the gear a bit. Ta-dung! No one lives on the big island. They said they evacuated everybody in the Second World War, and they were sent back to Russia. And then these people were sort of left there, and then at the end it was decided, well, you know, where do you know, anyway, these ones became American. And there's this little town there. And these people know they've got Russian descendants. They look very Eskimo-like, these people. And living here is pretty damn bleak, I should think. But they love it. There's maybe, I'm not quite sure. They give different sort of numbers, but about 100, 150 people live on there. And yeah, across the water, a couple of miles away, is that island. And then it's most bizarre because the date line, so the island on the left is a day ahead of this island on the right. What a strange way to break or put the date line in, you know, the timeline in. So this one is in a different day to that one, even though they can see this island from their town. There's no roads there. I mean, in a couple of the videos they said they've got no television, they've got no telephones, but they were watching computer games, and they do have some kind of phone because I filmed it. But they said that they didn't have all these things. And yeah, and then basically a helicopter, that's a helicopter pad just there. And the helicopter comes in and drops the stuff off. And in the winter, when this is all iced up, which we'll show a few pictures later on, they can, as long as it's thick enough, they can land right there on the ice and drop the stuff off that way. But they're saying because of the island, because as the weather changes all the time, and so you could say, okay, then the plane's coming in with, say, a member of my family next Tuesday, and then it doesn't happen because the weather's so bad. But anyway, that's as far away as the island is. It's that far away. Because that video lied. It told that little girl it was right outside the window, as if it's right on top of them, and it's not. It's that far away. So that was a lie, wasn't it? So that's a lie. There you go. That's the picture they're showing you in the schoolroom, that it's that close to them. And that's not true. It's not that close. So why would they bother doing that? They lie. You just lie. There you go. It's not that close. It's that far away. Do you see what I mean? It's just pathetic, isn't it? So I noticed that. There's the island with the house. They're all built on wooden stilts, a bit like those houses were on the top of that gorge with the mine in Canada. Obviously it's for in case it floods a bit, I suppose, and they're a little bit higher out of the sea. But you know, I've been watching tsunamis coming in. If they come in, you don't have a hope in hell. It just takes whatever it's going to take. It destroys everything in its path. So if the water rose, then it's not really going to save them. But it is an American country. It's part of Alaska. It's very, very, obviously miles away from Alaska, but in that province. And in the winter, this is what it looks like. So they can land on the ice. Look at that. Would you like to live there? Oh, in winter. Look how cold it looks. I don't think it's probably that hot in the summer either. But it's definitely icy, isn't it? And snowy. I just don't think I could live there. But they can land planes on the ice at this time of the year. There you go. I suppose it's beautiful and white. These people live off the animals in the sea, you know, whatever there is, walruses, whales. And they do actually go and get wild vegetables from up on that mountain. There's certain things like wild cabbage and certain plants they can use for food. But there are no trees on this island, none. And there isn't on the other one either. Look at that. Oh, would you like to live there in winter? I don't think so. But I just was very intrigued by this place. It made me go and have a look at it quite a lot. So there you go. Russia's in front of them, an island. And then 25 miles behind that is Russia. And 25 miles from them is Alaska. And that means 25 and 25 is 50, and then there's basically nearly 2 miles between the islands. So that means that that's only 52 miles between Alaska and mainland Alaska and mainland Russia. There's only 50 miles. So that's not very much, is it? There you go. And they're saying that bit in the background is Russia. And what it is this person in here says, I'm going to put the words up in a minute. I'll wait for the words. It's probably better if I just use the words. But anyway, look at that. I mean, it does look quite beautiful in a way. I think this woman said, I was listening to her, she said, it's 20% paradise, but it is a little bit hard to live there. So it's not all heaven living there, because obviously, you know, it's cold a lot of the time. And they've got to go out and get food from the freezers, or it's cold, whatever they do. But anyway, there's the date line right down the middle. So the left island is Russian, the right one is American. Yeah. And there you go, 25 miles to America, 25 to Russia, 2 between them. That's only 52 miles. I thought they said it was 60 odd miles, but it can't be. That one says it's 52. 52 miles between Alaska and America. There it is, the little island stuck in the middle. So yeah, that's giving the times. I just got a bit intrigued. And the word, the name of the island, Diomede, is from Greek, and it means Zeus. What was that again? I mean, was about to say it, and then I suddenly went out of my mind as the picture clicked off. Come on! There, Zeus planned. That's what that island means. Zeus planned. Anyway, they're saying there's 118 inhabitants living in that little village. And it's 2 miles between. It's 52 miles. I don't know why they just didn't kill each other off there. That's how much they spend on the postal. $300,000 a year to bring those planes out to this island. They come once a week, I think it is. And yeah, I was looking at the other island. See, it says no native population. It looks like a tree, doesn't it? Like someone's sawn a piece of wood and you're going to put this on the fire. That's what it looks like at this point. But the picture changes halfway through, so it's a bit weird, really. So that's the island next to them. So they're saying that is Alaska in that direction. And then when they pan the camera around, which they're going to do now, when the camera is panned round, obviously they're going to be looking at the bigger island, but then they're saying behind that, there you go, you can see Russia. Looks much higher then, doesn't it, to Alaska. Says it's near the Arctic Circle. Look at that cloud. Just look how low that cloud is on the mountain. Says in 1948 the Soviets moved the residents of Big Diomede to the mainland Russia, and those on Little Diomede remained as part of America. And then it carries on. And then he said they were always battling with what's going on. People that try to go across, they get denied. I watched some videos of people helicoptering over there and being nicely greeted with the Russians. Oh yes, we've gone through immigration on this little tiny airport. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Anyway, he's got a phone there of some kind. They're saying they haven't got telephones there, but they've got some kind of communication because they're using like phones. They said that they did it through not walkie-talkies, but because obviously that's walkie-talkies, but they did it through these other little sets they had. But they obviously are doing it a different way now. There's a bit more about it there. If you sailed on a boat, it would take you 17 hours to get there. That's how far out in the sea it is. Yes. Look at those islands. Some of those, they're in the map, but they're not really. Anyway, what I decided to do was, I decided to just have a look around the outside of this map. Well, I looked all over it because there's supposed to be a plane on there, but I couldn't find the plane. But a lot of people are saying that they mask things out. Anyway, so this is supposed to be some military, that's a military base, a small one. The Russians are there with this military base, but it doesn't look very busy there, does it? And basically, I went round the edge of the island. I saw that. I don't know what that is. Is that a helicopter pad or whatever that is? And I went round the island, and I just couldn't find anything to say people had ever lived there. Don't forget, they only went in the Second World War. That's all. The Second World War. But I didn't find any houses like on the other island where those people live. I don't see any. So we're going around the edge of the island to see whether they made houses or compounds, and I didn't see any. There's a couple of places I thought, well, there could have been buildings there, I suppose. Shapes on the ground, but no buildings there, and they'd just been left there. See, there are no buildings. There, that bit there was a bit square. Anyway, but no buildings. I found no buildings whatsoever. So I still didn't find out about Jin's flight. But it made me go and look this place up. Oh, is that a little place just there? We'll just go back there a minute. Go back to... As we come round the top, just going to see, was there a building, another building there? Not there. Where are we? Somewhere in here. Oh, it's just a bit of snow. I thought it was a building, but it's just showing snow. But yeah, back to that one. And you can clearly see those buildings. So all the local people would have to live there. And there wouldn't have been many of them because there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 or 5 buildings there. And there's a lot more on the other island. So where did the people live? So I don't get that either. Personally, I like to sort things out in my mind and work it all out. I have no idea how we could make up half the journey to somewhere their advertising takes 1 hour and 10 minutes to get there. I don't know how we made up that time. We were not flying. We weren't battling the wind. I didn't feel, oh, we're being pushed by the wind. You know, I don't understand. And we would have to be doing 500 and something miles an hour. But we managed to get there in such a short period of time. Yes, on this map, I could see how Jin over here would get to California quite quickly. And how it would be the same as me. I can see that. But I don't think these, this isn't right. Africa's not big enough. Russia's not big enough. And although Australia's bigger, it looks bigger than America, when actually it's about the same size as America. So I don't understand all that because it still doesn't add up. And why is Antarctica down there like that then? But anyway, and what's your thoughts on these islands? That one's American, one's Russian. The date line, the timeline goes right down between these two islands. And these are American ones, and they can't go to Russia, and all that. What's your thoughts to that?